trainings on this topic, so I decided to make this presentation short and to share with you some useful tips and hints when you are preparing the project proposal. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I am the National Delegate for Horizon 2020 Program Committee on Smart, Green and Integrated Transport, but I have also more than 15 years experience to be an evaluator working for the European Commission for different types of calls and different European Commission DGs. Mostly for DG Connect, I evaluated Marie Curie, Sklodowska actions, many projects. Basically, I am called to by the Commission once or twice per year. So I would like to provide you more with the evaluator's perspective. So how the evaluators look at the project proposal during the evaluation phase. So this is the outline of my presentation. So first I will start with the overview of Horizon 2020 and to highlight some aspects that are new in work program 2018-2020. Then a very fast guide on how to prepare Horizon 2020 proposal in 5 quick steps. Why the abstract is so important, how the Commission evaluates project proposals, some final tips, and some related resources that you can use or you should use when preparing a project proposal. Horizon 2020 is structured in 3 main pillars. The first one is excellent science, then industrial leadership and societal challenges. So, and you see the different types of schemes under excellent science, industrial leadership and societal challenges. The transport types of projects are mostly funded by societal challenge called energy or societal challenge called transport. There is also the another kind of mechanism or supporting mechanism which is called spreading excellence, which is covering 3 types of projects. ERA chairs, one of them is at our university. Twinning and teamings projects, and there is another one which is called Science for Society. So today we will cover those parts which are aimed to finance or which are relevant for transport and transportation topics. Moreover, what is new in work program 2018-2020 are so-called focus areas which have been implemented in these 3 last years of Horizon 2020 as virtual calls. There are 4 focus areas which are basically aligned with the major policy drivers and which are also expected to generate exceptional impact. These focus areas are virtually linked calls, which are putting together or linking those calls and topics from respective parts of Horizon 2020. And the rationale and objectives of these focus areas are described in the general introduction, and as such they should be considered in the project proposal. Calls and topics are clearly marked with the common call identifier, which I will now explain what is it about. So, common virtual call title and call identifier is marked after Horizon 2020. So you see here four different focus areas. The first one is on building a low carbon, climate resilient future, which is also relevant for some transport topics for the obvious reason that one of the mobility agenda objectives is low emissions, clean space, better climate forever. So when you are looking for potential topics for your project, you should not only look to the specific part of the work program, which is called smart, green and integrated transport, but you should look also to some other topics, and this focus area on low carbon and climate resilient future is definitely relevant. Then another focus area, which is called digitizing and transforming European industry and services, DT. So from our experience, so even though we have in our radar every possible call that can be relevant for transport and for project proposals for this university, of course, we somehow overlooked this call, digitizing and transforming European industry and services. When you look at the title, you might think that this is not at all relevant for transport, but in fact it is, as you can have some specific scenarios or specific use cases defined within this project. So sometimes topic of transport is not mentioned in the title, but when you read the call very carefully, so you could find that in fact there is something which might be also relevant for the topic you would like to go for. Then another focus area is called connecting economic and environmental gains, which is assigned as the CE. And the last one is boosting the effectiveness on the security union. Then what is also new is our cross-cutting issues, which have been integrated in the work program even for the previous work program, but there are some specific changes which are related to work program 2018-2020. And one of them are social sciences and humanities, which have been integrated across all Horizon 2020 activities. Then another cross-cutting issue is a gender dimension in the content of research and innovation action, which is a question on the relevance or not of gender analysis, which is included in the project proposal templates. There has been also international cooperation strengthened quite significantly in Horizon 2020 work program 2018-2020. And this cooperation consists of a general opening of the work program and its activities across all relevant Horizon 2020 parts. There is also new information on automatic funding to the third country participants, and you should then check the document to which the link on the bottom of the slide is provided to check if the third party whom you are supposed to have a project partner is eligible for funding from the Commission or not. Other cross-cutting issues may also be included in the work program responsible research and innovation, ethics, open access to scientific publications, climate change, standardization, and so on. So this was at a glance Horizon 2020 with the main changes for work program 2018-2020. Now, 5 steps for a successful project proposal. So the first question you should ask yourself is Horizon 2020 the right fit for you? So is it a mechanism that is really designed for you? So here I should like to outline some main principles of Horizon 2020 you should have in mind when you start to think about the project proposal. You will not write a project proposal. The first one is that Horizon 2020 is not about the single player, and it is not about short-term results. It is about internationalization, strong collaboration, long-term benefits, creating networks that can potentially speed up the results and improve the overall scientific output of Europe. So definitely Horizon 2020 is about more partners from different European countries, a variety of different stakeholders. Horizon 2020 is not about a single country or a single region. It is about bringing European countries and European regions together at 2 levels, at the political level on one side and at an economical level on the other side. And Horizon 2020 project should be an instrument which will pull these different European countries and regions in the same direction. Horizon 2020 is not about an incremental change. It is about something which is really groundbreaking and something that definitely goes beyond the state of the art. So don't try to think about the Horizon 2020 proposal with a simple result from your lab. So see it in a much broader sense and try to consider what kind of benefit Europe can have from your research result, or what would you like to develop during the project, in order to make European countries benefiting from the project results. So, what are the tips for the first step? Read the rules for participation and check what's eligible, what is not eligible. Start on your application as early as possible. So, somebody tells that in average there are 3 person months at least required for proposal drafting. This can vary from one proposal to another, and also depends very much on skills of the people who are involved in the project preparation. We will have an example later on of my colleague which will show you another possibility how to be successful in the project proposal. But definitely it's not a work for 1 or 2 weeks, even not for 1 or 2 months. So you should start as early as possible. Another advice that you have heard already from Jakub is please go and attend brokerage events. You will here learn ins and outs of the funding framework. You will have a possibility to contact your potential partners. You will flourish your networks for collaboration, and you will also find another opportunities, another ideas here. Another tip here, or useful hint, is visit always the EC portal, because this is a concentrated place for all type of the information you would need when you decide to apply for funding from Horizon 2020. So, what would be the next step? The next step, or the next advice, is get closely acquainted with your call. Here, I would like to stress that you should don't fail to address the scope of the call, but you should print off the call and highlight important keywords, check if the call has its own eligibility criteria because they might be specific from one call to another, and also check very carefully and examine the impacts the European Commission is expecting within a specific call. It is true that many, and I know it also from my own experience, is that many proposals, even though they are excellent in the excellence part, so in the scientific or technological approach, and also in the implementation, they fail to describe or to address adequately the impact part. And the main reason behind this is that the proposers haven't studied the market enough, and sometimes they focus on their country, on their needs, on their specific region, and they don't mention or they don't address these things or the impact at the European level. Don't start with details, but start with writing a one-page outline to provide a high-level overview of your project proposal. So, in simple words, this would be the advice: don't start to build your house from the roof, but set up the bases and think on how the architecture of your house should look like. Explain here simplistically the issue you want to address and how you plan to do it. And once you have set up this one-page outline, keep it on hand, put it on the wall, or keep it with you all the time through the entire application process. Again, some tips. So you should make your objective extremely strong and clear. You will be referring to the overall aim of your project and the specific objectives you would like to achieve throughout the application process, and you will share it also with your consortium. So if the objectives of the project are not strong and clearly described, then it is very difficult to describe a methodology or an approach you would like to take. You have still to have, forever have to have in your mind what are the objectives of your project. Once this is clear, then it will be much easier for you to explain the impact part, to explain the approach or the methodology, and also to address the implementation of the project. Remember also that you as a proposer are a customer of the European Commission. So try to understand first what motivates the Commission to draft a text for a call, and keep it in mind when creating your one-page outline. So don't forget to check what are the policy thoughts behind a call, because these are the high-level objectives that you should address in your project proposal. The third step would be create a strong consortium. So don't create a consortium with partners of the same type and skills. Put together a sound world-class consortium that is composed of a diverse group of partners. So don't put together only the university or academia partners, but based on the objectives you would like to achieve with your project, try to specify different types of stakeholders and try to think about their involvement and their role in your project. So ideally, the project consortium should have a balanced mix of academics and scientists, as well as SMEs, universities, research organizations, and industrial partners. But again, a mixture of different partners depends on a specific call and depends on your project. Consortium of the project should not be only wide-ranging, but it should be also strategic. So when you are inviting the people to join your consortium, you should know exactly what you are expecting from them and why you wish to have them on the board. So what will be their role in the project? Then try to pin down a project coordinator. This is a person who will be responsible for the project and who will oversee also its progress, provided of course that your proposal is successful. Ideally, this person should be experienced in coordinating large-scale projects, and this should be proved in the application, but there are also cases that there are newcomers who become project coordinators. So the persons who have never coordinated the project proposal before. So it's not restricted only to skilled people, otherwise this would be completely closed and we will have never newcomers in the new projects. Then another tip is Horizon 2020 is more interested in looking in funding projects that have an eye on commercialization, so there is a clear commercial potential behind your project. So when you think about the product that have a potential to be commercialized, don't forget that industrial partners play a large part in this process. Put together your application from the point of view of the evaluator. So don't wait till the last moment. Read the guide for evaluators, the people who will read your project proposal, and try to have their perspective when you are drafting the project proposal. So evaluators are looking at the three criteria which I have already mentioned. It's excellence, impact, and implementation. Again, I would like to stress the fact that don't focus only on a project or a product only. So don't focus on the excellence part only. Demonstrate also the ability of your proposal to go to the market and the capability of the project consortium to commercialize the product or the outcome of your project. So think on how an evaluator will read your proposals. Make the abstract as attractive as possible. This is the first thing the evaluator reads. When the evaluator is not attracted by an abstract, then you have a less chance that he or she will be attracted when reading the whole proposal. Put together a realistic budget, because there is no negotiation phase in Horizon 2020. So if you don't put a realistic budget, this will be reflected in lower score by the evaluators, and you will not have any other chance to correct this mistake. Explain clearly a role of each partner in your project consortium and demonstrate that these partners are complementary. Tips. Evaluators are of course humans, so do your best to make your proposal memorable, so the person or the evaluator, once he or she reads the abstract and the project proposal for the first time, this proposal will stay in his or her mind, and when he or she is coming back, he will know what is the project about. European Commission selects external evaluators via a database, and this is also how I got to be an evaluator. It is a great way of learning how to write a good proposal. So once you have and this experience, it's better to, it's easier to understand how the project proposal should be described. Then the last step, submit your proposal early and often. So don't wait till the last minute, but submit your proposal early. It can take a while to submit the proposal, and you might miss the deadline. Please have in mind that you can submit your proposal as many times as needed up to the actual deadline, and use this advantage of the Horizon 2020 tool for project proposal submission. Why the abstract is so important? I already mentioned it. So we can have a look from two perspectives. One is from the European Commission perspective. So the project officer who is responsible for a specific call selects the right experts to evaluate a proposal from the experts database. So basically they go through the abstract, they check the keywords, and they match these keywords with the keywords of expertise put in the experts database, and they are looking for the best possible experts that will match with the keywords of your abstract. From the evaluator's perspective, as I already mentioned, the abstract is very important because they get a full picture of the project proposal, and a good abstract will ensure that they will keep awake, they will stay focused and convinced. Some tips, so use the actual words and phrases given in the call, make the abstract credible, inform and excite the evaluators in a very short period of time, because the evaluator has usually half of the working day or the whole day for one project proposal, depending on the type of the action of the project. Explain convincingly. While the idea of your project goes beyond the state of the art, it is on the other side achievable with concrete milestones. So be realistic on the both sides. Explain what is on top of the existing knowledge, but on the other side also make sure that you will convince the evaluators that what you have proposed is achievable during the project lifetime. Key questions to be addressed by the abstract. So why it is, or let's start from the bottom. So what is the project about? So what type of a problem you are trying to solve? What is a priority? What is the priority behind? So is it a European priority, or could it be solved at the national level? Existing, so is the solution already available, or you are going to develop something on top of it, or maybe you are just going to improve some parts of an existing product or a service. This is also an innovation. Why now? So what would happen if we do not do this work now? So Europe will lose the opportunity to, and so on and so on. And why you? So why you are the best person, and why your consortium is the best mixture of partners to get funding from the Commission. So how the Commission evaluates project proposals. For single stage proposals, there are 3 individuals that evaluate proposals remotely, and they draft an individual evaluation report. and put the marks on the three criteria: excellence, impact, and implementation. Each criterion is scored out of 5, and there are individual thresholds for each criterion. It's 3 out of 5. It is different for different types of actions, and for example, for innovation action, criterion impact is multiplied with the factor 1.5 because it's about the innovation, so the expected impact should be much higher and more visible in the project proposal. Then a proposal goes to a consensus group which prepares the consensus report. This report is either created online and the evaluators are invited for a physical meeting to Brussels, or now more and more often the individual evaluator stays at their workplaces and the consensus reports are created offline, so remotely. Then the proposal is sent to a panel review, which receives a ranked list of project proposals and choose those proposals that are about a certain threshold. This certain threshold, of course, depends on the budget that the Commission has available for a specific call. There are also some cases when the project proposals have the same scores, and the panel has then to resolve proposals with tight scores. There are also the criteria which have been defined by the Commission how to resolve the projects with identical scores, and it can be different for different types of actions. For example, when you have a research and innovation action and you have 2 proposals with the same marks, then excellence is considered as at the first place. So that proposal that has highest score in the excellence part is ranked above the competing proposal. If it is the innovation action, then impact has the greatest value, and so on. 2-stage proposals are evaluated in a similar way to 1-stage proposals, except that you must submit a short proposal beforehand, which evaluators mark on excellence and impact only. The threshold for both individual criteria is 4, which is missing on the slide, but it's 4. If you are above a certain threshold, which is usually 8 out of 10, you are invited to stage 2. Then you submit a full proposal, and at this point you have a clean slate from stage 1, but the same process is followed as for 1-stage proposals. And this is a visualization of the whole evaluation process. So I will maybe skip it because these have been already explained. Let's move to this slide. So these are the evaluation criteria and scores for excellence, impact, quality and efficiency of implementation. And you can see that under each criterion there is a number of certain aspects that the evaluators are considered when reading your proposal. So they should really address how clear and pertinent are your objectives, if the approach you are proposing is credible, if the concept is sound and convincing, what is the ambition or innovation potential, what is your proposal really going beyond the state of the art, and so on. What is very important to be mentioned here is that evaluation scores are awarded for the criteria, not for the different aspects. So even though the evaluator has to address in a written form all the aspects, he or she gives you 1 mark, 1 score for 1 criterion. As already told, the importance or rating of criteria may vary from one program to another, and what is very important here is that the impact criterion refers to the specific impact statement under every topic in the work program. So please check carefully what kind of impacts are expected by a specific call. Here are some hints for evaluators. So, if a proposal the evaluator is supposed to evaluate is only marginally relevant in terms of scientific, technological, or innovation content relating to the call and the topic, then they are asked to lower a score for the excellence criterion, no matter how excellent is the science. So be careful here. If a proposal doesn't significantly contribute to the expected impacts as specified in the work program for the specific call or topic, then again the evaluators are asked to lower the score for the impact criterion. If a proposal, because there is no negotiation phase, would require substantial modification in terms of implementation, either in change of partners or in budget, then again the evaluators are asked to lower the score for quality and efficiency of the implementation criterion. Similarly, if cross-cutting issues are explicitly mentioned in the scope of the call and they are not properly addressed, so again, your score can be lowered for this reason. And if you realize that you can reach at maximum 15 points or 15 scores, so and the evaluators can lower even a half of the mark, can have a big impact on the overall score and on the potential success of your project proposal. The evaluators also evaluate the operational capacity, which means they assess whether each applicant, each project partner has the necessary basic operational capacity to carry out the proposed activities. How do they do that? They do that on the base of curricula vitae or description of the profile of each applicant, his or her publications and achievements, the skills and experience with previous projects or activities, description of third parties contributing to the work, and so on. And as also this has to be addressed by the consensus group in the consensus report, and they have to then to address this case, and if a specific applicant, a single applicant in the whole consortium lacks the basic operational capacity, the proposal should be scored without taking into account this applicant and or its associated activities. So taking out one applicant is not so bad, but then you have to take also out all his activities, which can then impact the whole project proposal. Okay, so what the evaluators expect? They expect that your project proposal is credible, so it has a sense what you are proposing, that there is a clear communication, so your project proposal clearly describes what will be done. It's concrete, so you know who will do what, when and how, and it's consistent, so it's a high quality project proposal which has been proofread before. So final tips, I summarize what have been addressed in my presentation. Plan ahead, don't wait for the call to be open. Write for an informed, non-native English speaker. Make it interesting for the reviewers. Make it concise, attractive and clear, and use narrative, diagrams and images wherever it is possible to provide your project proposal with clear pictures and visualization. Sometimes shorter is better, so don't describe the state of the art on the half of the proposal. Nobody is interested on what is existing. Describe what you are going to bring with the project proposal. Don't expect that the reviewers just assume. They can assess and evaluate what they read. So don't expect that they will think on something else what has not been described in your project proposal. And of course, use the Horizon 2020 online resources. Basically, the EC portal is the main source for information, so you will find here everything you need for drafting a project proposal. There is also the H2020 online manual, some reference documents. There are different partner search tools, and this has been already addressed by Jakub. And finally, there are also some more resources, so I put the links here. Many of them you can buy, but we have a special gift for you because recently we published our own ERADIATE guide for preparation on and implementation of research and innovation projects, and this publication is also available online on the ERADIATE webpage, but I believe all of you who registered got a copy of it, and this is offered for you free of charge. So please use it, and of course your feedback is more than welcome, because we don't think that this should be a Bible. This should be a living document that can be improved in the future based on your feedback and comments. And that's all, so thank you, and in case you have any questions, I am ready to answer.